All right, thank you everybody for choosing to tune into another Global from Asia podcast. We have with us my friend Andy Lee in Singapore. It's great to have you sharing with us finally on the podcast. You've been on my list. You were a speaker at our last cross-border summit, and I've also attended your conferences like EXW and other events you've done. So thanks for coming on today.
Hi. Thank you so much, Mike, for having me on your podcast, and always glad to see you. And finally, I'm on an interview, man.
Yeah, I know, finally. But there's so much we can talk about. I mean, you have so much experience and things to share. You know, you've kind of done a lot. You've done eBay, Amazon, you've done Southeast Asia, which is what we're going to focus on today. Do you want to just give a little bit of background about yourself and what you do for those to get to know you?
Thank you. Sure, Mike. I'm actually an e-commerce seller, a trainer, and also a consultant. So I've been selling on eBay. Actually, I started off with eBay, and then I started to move on to Amazon. And then I also build my own websites using Shopify and WordPress.
Great.
So we are also a training school in mostly Southeast Asia. So we are now in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Cambodia, and also we are also in Hong Kong and Taiwan. We are also heading into Philippines. Sorry, I beg your pardon. We are also heading into Vietnam for this year. That's our target. It's supposed to be earlier, but because of this pandemic, it was actually delayed. Yeah. So the latest one that we are in now is actually Philippines. Okay, we are very happy and to be Philippines as well.
Yeah.
So do consultancy for some companies, but actually mostly in Taiwan and also in China.
Yeah, it's great. We last met.
It's about me, yeah.
Yeah, we last met in Philippines for the dinner like in March this year, and it was just before this whole thing shut down. I mean, China was locked down, but yeah, like it was early March. I remember we met, and then then everything started really closing down, which has been really hard for all of us. So, but yeah, you have a lot of experience, and I'm happy today. It's been a topic people have asked for, and I know this will be a popular one. It's about Southeast Asia. It's a very more complex. You shared really amazing stuff at our last cross-border summit. Thank you for that. There were some really unique things that you haven't shared maybe in other events. So. But before we get into Southeast Asia, which one's your favorite? There's of course affiliate. You said you've done eBay, drop shipping, Amazon, Lazada. Which platform do you think is your favorite? Do you have one?
I think if you ask me, Amazon has always been my blood. Of course, all the platforms that I know of, everything. I still love Amazon. Amazon is my favorite. But of course, if you ask me why is it my favorite, was because it was one of the toughest platform that I did, and I spent so much time on it, and I eat Amazon, I sleep Amazon, I talk Amazon,
Yeah.
And it just become a habit for me, and maybe that was why. I mean, that is why I love this platform.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, if people watching the video version of this, you have your background with Andy, Amazon advocate, so it's great, man. I know you're really passionate about it. So, and it's got animation too. It's cool. It's really cool background. But yeah, today we're going to focus on Southeast Asia. And also we just had a call. We just did a call recently, and you were mentioning how there's some big differences that you see with your product lines and other things with Southeast Asia and Amazon. So I think today we're going to share a little bit insights about opportunities and differences of Southeast Asia e-commerce from Amazon. What would you say is some of the bigger opportunities that you see for people tuning in today? We're in the middle of 2020, the pandemic year, and all these different life we're in now.
For Southeast Asia, I think one very, very important difference between, let's say, Amazon and eBay, in the United States compared to Southeast Asia platforms, I think the big difference will be what we call the registration. Yeah. The registration for like Southeast Asia platform for a local person, that means if you're a Malaysian, you want to open a Malaysian Shopee or Malaysian Lazada platform, it is almost, like instant, it takes about 3 days, okay, almost instant. But we know that if you want to open an Amazon account, there's so much work involved, they need to do verification. Even if you're a US citizen, you want to open a US Amazon account, there's so much verification and etc. So I think that would be the one main difference that I will say, it's easier. That means the entry level is easier for people, which is good.
Yeah, that's definitely good. That's kind of interesting. I should talk about that. I mean, there's people listening in the U.S. or Europe. They are interested about Lazada Southeast Asia. I mean, what would you suggest for them for registration? I think Southeast Asia, from your talk in Cross Border Summit and what I've seen, is so fragmented, right? There's different markets. So how do you suggest somebody to get started on these, with registration, like where and what and how?
No problem. Although, when I say the entry level is so easy, but it's actually a 50-50 thing, it's true and not true. It's true for the local people, but not for foreigners.
Okay.
So, like for example, Mike, which are the two biggest platforms in Southeast Asia now, you can't register, you can't get in at all. So when we do a consultancy for companies that are overseas and they want to come into Southeast Asia, there's only one way that we can do it, which is you need to have a registration, a company registered in Hong Kong or in China. So we do assist them, in opening up the company accounts and everything.
Sure.
And then go into Lazada or Shopee's so-called global selling. Something just like Amazon global selling. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And when you are in this program, this Southeast Asia program, you can actually sell in all the Southeast Asia platforms, except Taiwan.
Okay.
Except one Shopee, because Taiwan doesn't have Lazada.
All right. Yep. Yeah. So we're bringing up these markets. Of course, that's the next question: is which ones would you say Lazada? I think everybody knows it around the world. It's gotten pretty popular. There's Lazada and Shopee, I think, are the two main ones. But I know that in Indonesia, I think there's a big one that I forget the name, honestly. Still, I remember I learned it from you. But do you want to give us some ideas of some of the markets that people should consider?
Okay, if you talk about some of the big Southeast Asia countries, like I beg your pardon, if I offended any other Southeast Asia countries, but the top main 5 ones will be like Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand. Okay, of course, Vietnam is one of them as well.
Okay.
And out of these top 6 countries, Lazada and Shopee, they are all on the top 3 position.
Okay.
Mentioned just now, Mike, for Indonesia, there's 2 other big ones, like it's called Tokopedia.
Yeah.
And Bukalapak. Okay, I know that the names are like maybe some of you never heard before, but they are really huge, really huge. Let's just say Indonesia, Tokopedia, they are the biggest in Indonesia. Even Lazada and Shopee has issues like trying to be the number 1 spot. And if you come back to Singapore number 1 is what we call Q10. So it's QOO10, Q10. Okay, and then Lazada and Shopee is only like number 2 and number 3 spot as of 2019.
Okay.
Of course, there's all other smaller platforms, here and there to take a pie of the e-commerce business in their own country. But Lazada and Shopee, we talk about overall Southeast Asia, these 2 are the biggest. And I think everybody knows Lazada because Lazada now is owned by Alibaba Group.
Yes. Yeah,
And
it's been there.
yeah, and the head of Alipay, actually, I mean the previous head of Alipay, now runs Lazada Southeast Asia. Okay, and that's you can see that how focused and how precise they want to make it big in Southeast Asia. And
Okay.
yeah.
This is great. Thank you so much for that overview. And I think maybe just to make sure people understand, so if you have a global selling account on like Lazada or Shopee with a Hong Kong or China company, you can then sell in all the markets except you said Taiwan or where they're not selling. So that makes it a little bit easier. But do they have to activate it? Like in Amazon, you got it, like you have to kind of still activate it in those markets.
Yes, you have to, of course, you're right, to activate the market, to choose which market you want to sell. And the traffic-wise, if you ask me, it may not be as powerful as the local sellers because they are actually selling in something called like a global mall. Okay, to put it in layman's term, okay, I can't go into too much details.
Okay, sure.
As we go at time,
Yeah.
they are selling like in a global mall. Okay, so this global mall, all the sellers from all the different countries will be inside, and they can sell their brands and everything. Yeah, and of course, nowadays when I do consultation for my clients, brands are very important now, and that's why we are also focusing now more a lot of their brand stores. Because when the brand store is easy for them to identify them in different countries, like whether are they in Vietnam or they are in Indonesia, etc.
Okay.
So that's the thing, yeah. And yes, they have to activate it. But if I want to go into a little bit more detail, right? Once you activate this whole concept, the fulfillment is actually quite easy to do. Okay, because let's say for example we talk about Shopee. Shopee has a fulfillment center in Shenzhen. Okay, even in EU itself, they have a fulfillment center. So basically, their fulfillment center is a bit different from what you're thinking about, like in like Amazon, you send your like 1,000 pieces of thing, you put it there, and then it's a bit different. But rather, what I'm trying to say is, whenever there's an order, you just have to send it to this so-called the fulfillment center or so-called the distribution center. They will then from Shenzhen, they will ship it to Indonesia, to Singapore, to Malaysia. It's like a hub. Okay, it's a shop where they will send it out to the different countries in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
So this is quite good, if you have a fulfillment center in also for your factory is in China. So whenever you got like 100 orders a day, you just send all the 100 orders to that center, and they will do the distribution to the other various countries in Southeast Asia, which means you do not have to send it yourself to all the different countries.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely.
So
that's really helpful.
And of no worries. And of course, if you are big enough, you have a certain volume, you can always talk to your account manager, which we know the account managers quite well. You can also send the goods to the local country's fulfillment center. Lazada and Shopee has their fulfillment centers in the various countries now. For what I know, is in Singapore, Malaysia, they have it, Indonesia as well. So you can actually send it to there, okay, and then they can do the fulfillment for you. So that will be like Amazon FBA. That is something like that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And then I think I've heard that you can have some, of course you could have some fulfilled from like China and some in the local market. And then you can let the customer even decide which one they want to buy from you. Or you could have yeah.
Yes. So you can actually create different listings for different type of fulfillment that you want to. One thing about, Lazada and Shopee, they are not so strict in terms of their rules and regulations. Amazon sellers, I'm sure that a lot of people is listening to or watching this video or listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Very sure, they know that Amazon is so strict. If they find out that you have multiple listings, they will do a merge together. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But Lazada and Shopee, they are not so powerful or so strict yet. Their robots are not so strict to check things.
Got it.
So the multiple listings is still possible, but not to too extreme extent. Yeah.
I understand.
So that's the thing we do here.
That
Hmm.
sounds good. Thanks for the tips. Thanks for these tips. And then
Yeah.
the part that really kind of inspired me to think of this topic with you when we last talked was, you sell different products yourself. If you want to share a little bit about, maybe not the exact product, but you have different products in Amazon than in Lazada or Southeast Asia because the market's so different, the maturity of the market. I don't know if you want to share some insights about the product selection or the market differences.
Okay, I think first of all, there's a lot of so-called rules and regulation in Amazon that we do not like. And to Amazon, okay, like let me give you an example, which I think I shared with you, I think last week
Yeah, yeah, last
is,
week.
now if I want to sell something in Amazon, that let's say for example the UV lights. Okay, I'm trying to sell the UV lights because I sell it quite well in eBay. So I try to sell it on Amazon, the UV lights. Those lights that you can like sterilize the surface and everything. I know it's very hard to get it approved, and immediately your listing is suspended. You can't sell. But in Lazada and Shopee, they don't care. They don't care, and everybody is selling. Okay, so this will be something now people is thinking now. If everybody is selling, shouldn't it be like competition is so low? In Amazon I can make more money than in Lazada and Shopee. That's what everybody is thinking. Is there a price war? Is it something like that? I can tell you frankly, every platform has their pros and cons, I would say. And we want to talk about profit margin and everything. Okay, the profit margin may not be as much as what we getting in Amazon because we are getting US dollars. Okay,
Mhm.
but of course, I think Southeast Asia platform is a very big platform because we are doing much more in volume. Mm. Our quantity sold is we're talking about the same product. Our quantity sold can be much more in Southeast Asian market than compared to actually for me, the US market. Mm. But of course, the profit margin we talk about per se per item. In Amazon, I can get a better profit margin. It's true. So yeah, I think in Southeast Asia it will be more like a volume game.
Got it.
And especially when you want to put in, send your stock to the US and compared to the Southeast Asia platform, I will usually tell them my students to put in more for Southeast Asia because the volume will be much higher because they're going for cheaper price. Okay, but there's still profit margin. It's not as if there's no profit margin. Hmm,
Okay,
that's the
that's
thing.
good. Thanks for the, yeah, again, you're giving some tactics too, which is great. Uh,
Yeah.
so the launching process, Amazon launch, I think, is getting harder. I don't know if you'd agree or not, but I think we all agree it's harder and harder with launching in Amazon. You know, hopefully in Lazada, Southeast Asia, launching the process is, would you say, easier or I mean, there's differences, or you can give us some insights.
Recently I just launched some products in Walmart. And Walmart is like maybe like I don't know, like 5 years ago, what Amazon used to be. Ranking is so much easier to be on page one. And what you say is totally true. To launch a new product now in Amazon US is getting harder. Okay, and now that's why I'm also focusing more on like in UK and also in Germany and etc. So in Southeast Asia, the launching of product right is not that difficult. It's not that difficult. To go to the first page and etc. is so much easier. It's so much easier compared to Amazon. But to go into the very details and everything, right, is I just have to say that to be able to be on number one, so-called page one, the local people have more advantages compared to the global selling customers.
Okay.
Okay, so that is why we actually have a solution for many of my sellers. For my clients. Okay, the solution is this. Because I've been teaching in Southeast Asia all this while for the last almost coming to 4 years, I have a lot of students who learn Amazon from me. Okay, and these students are also sellers in Lazada and Shopee in their respective countries. So I actually found a few of them who are very good. I handpicked them and I picked them out, And these people are now actually working together with me, with my training companies, to do training in the respective countries. And these coaches, right, they have the local accounts. They have the locals. So you can also work with us, let's say, for example, that I can arrange the local account to help you to sell on their shops. Also,
Mm, okay.
so make it very easy. Like it's like a one stop. I can help you to settle all the countries
Awesome.
and all
Yeah.
the shops.
So 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 that's yeah. So a few things just to recap. One is it seems like there's a local advantage for the local seller versus a global seller, and then you have solution, select solution that with people you know or that you want to work with that you can help them be a local seller without needing to be local, which
Yes,
is awesome.
good.
And then I guess my last question for today is we kind of mentioned at the earlier part about registering. So it's not really registering, but getting started with a product, like choosing the product or, there's FBA sellers, they have a brand. I think a lot of people in the US or in the West, we want to just take our current product line and like sell it in another market. Is it possible? Is that something you would advise? Like, say I'm selling really good in Amazon US, I want to expand to Southeast Asia. I take my brand and my product line and I can sell it there, or would you say just start fresh, with a new product line or a new product lineup?
I mean, one of the easiest way is always to just test the market using a drop shipping method. But of course, when we say drop shipping, Lazada and Shopee doesn't like drop shipping as well. Okay, just like Amazon, just like eBay. But I think everybody is doing it. But when I say drop shipping now, I'm talking about your own product. I would not really say it's like drop shipping, but to per se, like for example, if your stock is in US, you have Amazon FBA stock in US, you can actually just list a listing, in Lazada or Shopee. If it does sells, you just fulfill it yourself, just buy from yourself from Amazon and ask Amazon to ship it there. So of course you have to cover the shipping costs and everything, of course the price will be a bit higher, but at least you can use this to try the market.
Yeah.
And to have your brand in Lazada in Southeast Asia, of course you have to check whether your branding is it suitable for the Asian market. So
Hmm.
sometimes I do advise my clients to do a rebranding just for the Southeast Asian market. And the instruction manuals and everything,
Yep.
you know, some of them they do have to do it localized. That means
Yep.
for Asian market, they have to have Bahasa Malay, Bahasa Malay to be inside, and things like that. So there's some localization has to be done. Yeah. And of course, if you work with us, let's say, everything can be done quite easily because we have the local contacts, the printing shops and everything, all this sort of thing, it can be done for you, etc. And you don't have to register a company in Indonesia, in Malaysia. They'll be so troublesome, and things like that. So that'll be a good choice. Mm.
Okay. Well, this has been great, Andy, and I, appreciate you sharing so openly about some strategies and tactics. And you do have some, of course, programs and courses that we could offer to the listeners today. Do you want? I think you have one. We've been talking about it about Southeast Asia. I mean, I think people are interested in this. Like, do you want to share a little bit about some of the program?
Yeah, sure. I think just like Amazon, when I always feel that the whole selling process, the most important factor is always product research. So we do have a class in Malaysia. Currently now it's in Malaysia and Taiwan. Okay, in Taiwan it's in Chinese version, and then in Malaysia is in English. So currently now it's actually taught by two of the seven-figure sellers, local seven-figure sellers. That means it's not taught by me. Okay,
Yeah,
uh, I'm not actively selling in Lazada and Shopee. I work with these people and they help me to sell my stuff.
got
Okay,
it.
yeah. So these trainers they are under our company. They actually we have this class in Malaysia and Taiwan as I mentioned. So we will teach how to do we'll teach you how to use software to do product research. Okay, and also how to do the fulfillments. The different type of fulfillments you can do, and the contacts and everything, and also the what do you call that, the registration, whether is it for a local account or for a global selling account, etc. So it will be all done like that. So the classes are all offline classes. They are not online classes. So I think that means we are only open to Malaysians. I mean, or Singaporeans if you want to travel to Malaysia,
Okay.
or even students to Malaysia, that's fine. Okay, Malaysia and also in Taiwan.
Hmm.
Okay. Also, I have this thing called the China Dream Trip. Okay,
Okay.
this dream started it off as a Amazon dream trip, and I've done this dream trip. This is the coming 32nd batch. As a matter of fact, 32nd batch. And we bring students to this place called Yiwu.
Yeah.
Yiwu. Yes. So Yiwu is a place in Zhejiang where I think the biggest commodities market is over there, and we buy things from there. So I started off this thing for Amazon sellers, and this China Dream Trip now is only allocated for my students only, and we handpick only 15% of the students to go because we cannot have everyone going. It's going to be too big. We cannot control. So we only handpick the best 15%.
Okay.
So that means this China Dream Trip for Amazon sellers is not open to the public. Okay, but we have another dream trip called the Dream Trip Express. Okay, it's a bit shorter. It's only 5 days compared to my Amazon Dream Trip, which is 7 days. It's a bit shorter.
Okay.
And this China Dream Trip, so-called the Dream Trip Express, I've made it specially tailored for Southeast Asia selling. That means you will not only see me, but you will also see my top seller in Singapore, in Lazada and Shopee, Malaysia, Indonesia, and also Taiwan. So 4 of the top trainers will be going down to this dream trip to guide them, to find products, to have discussions and everything, etc. And of course, you get to see me as well. So there'll be 5 coaches together with the trainers will be there to assist. Okay. So I think if you guys know more about the Dream Trip Express, I don't want to say too much. I think maybe Mike can put a link for you guys, somewhere.
We'll put a link there, and yeah, I support it. I'm like of course, a partner affiliate and support what you're doing. So, thanks for that, Andy. We'll have all the details and information in the links on the video or on the show notes of the podcast. So, thanks so much, Andy. I think that's all we got today, right? This is great. I'm happy we got this finally done, and I hope to do more and more together with you. Try to get you back on the show and more events and more things we can cooperate. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and also check out our Instagram at Global from Asia. Thanks again, and see you soon.
E-commerce, like over 8 years.